Hello everyone, my name is Yuri from Mouse, and we are back with another track guide. This time we're back with week 5 of the GT3 VRS Sprint Series, and we are at Virginia. We're driving the Audi for a change. The track's really tricky. There's a lot of grass just next to the track. A lot of tricky corners as well with a couple markers, and especially a couple lines as well I want to go over. So without further ado, let's have a look how this hot lap looks like on this track. Right, so here we are, last sector as usual, and this track is quite a roller coaster, literally and figuratively. So let's see, start the last corner, start our race field as usual. Make sure to not understeer wide there. And for turn 1, we want to be looking at the 2 marker and brake just after that. Down to second gear. Base on the throttle here. Now brake after the curb on the left side ends. And all the way to the right side here. Brake just after the black tarmac there. Try to keep it tight to open up this right handle here. Try to be on throttle as much as you can. Bit of grass on the left and right hand side is fine. And we go to this, it kind of is a straight, but we're sliding a bit, but all of these are easy flat. This one easy flat as well. Bring it to the right side, down 1 gear, make sure you don't clip the grass on the right side there. With the 2. Slowly make it to the outside. As you can see, the rear starts to be unstable there. At the back straight. And all of these corners are really tricky because we're really close to the grass. And the grass on iRacing at least is really slippery. So the moment you put the wheel in the grass, it's really tricky to keep the whole car out of the grass. Look at the 1 marker here. Bring the car over to the left side as much as you can. Head out on the left hander here. Flip the curb on the left hand side, maybe even a bit of grass with it to open up the last corner. Good exit. And then keeping it tight, and that's a lap around Virginia. And all of those corners came back is really quick, so let's have a closer look from the outside cam.
You've got the fastest lap.
Right, so let's have a closer look at the lap time and go a bit slower over all the corners. So turn 1, we want to be looking at the left side. Got the markers on the left here, and I want to brake just after the 2 marker. Of course, keep it to the left here, and then slowly start trail braking, bringing the car into the inside here. So just after or at the 2, when you're sitting in the car, for me, it looks like I'm braking just after. And then slowly start making it to the inside here. You have to be really patient with the throttle here. If you're going on throttle too early here or too quickly, the car will either lose traction on the rear or just go straight. So patient with the throttle, you want to keep the car tight. Keep it to the right side here. Don't go to the inside too early because we want to be braking while turning here. I use this curb on the inside here as a reference. So I start braking just before this curb ends here. And brake very light because the rear will get very snappy here if you brake too much. Bring it to the outside here and then slowly again start going to the throttle. If you go on throttle too sudden, the car will start understeering right. You want to be using all of this curb on the right side here and bring it back, of course, when the curb, only when the curb ends. I want to brake just after this first patch here of the dark tarmac. So just after this patch, we're on the brakes. Try to keep it really tight here. We want to sacrifice this left-hander, so the first tight left-hander, to get a good entry into the long right-hander. And that's important because there's a big straight afterwards. You want to be running it close to the outside here. Car wants to understeer here because we want to be on throttle and turning, so the car tends to want to understeer. So bring it close to the outside as you can here. That way we have to lift as little as possible for these small curves here. You don't want to clip the grass on the first one. On the left one here, you can clip the grass a bit on the left side, no issue. This is not an off track. Clipping the grass a bit on the left side, and it allows you to go on throttle a bit earlier in the corner before. And then from here, it kind of is a straight, but we have to just try to hold the wheel as straight as possible. So you clip the left-hand curb, clip the right-hand curb, clip the left-hand curb, clip the right-hand curb. And we want to make sure all of this is flat. We want to make sure that once we're on the top of the hill here, we want to tap the brakes, and we want to have our car already lined up as much as we can with the white line on the right side here. So we don't want to be coming from the left and going in a turn while braking here. That upsets the car too much. I go down 1 gear, going down 2 gears works as well. And you want to make sure that when you're at the apex here, so at the curb, you want to be a bit on throttle. Especially the Audi, because the rear tends to get very loose here, so you want to be a bit on throttle to settle the car. And you want to use the curb here on the exit. Going any wide here will give you an off track, so you want to avoid that. And then we want to, as quickly as possible, move over to the left side here again. And I'll go to the cockpit cam for this one. You want to move over to the left-hand side as quick as you can to make sure you're as parallel as you can be with this white line for the braking for the next right-hander. And it's all very short straight here. If you take too long getting to the left-hand side, your car will still be going in a straight line, and you'll have to turn while braking or go into the grass, which obviously we want to avoid. So I want to bring it over to the left-hand side here, and then we want to use a 2 as a brake mark. And as you can see, the moment I start braking, my car's parallel with the white line, so I can brake as much in a straight line as I can here. And then this is, I think, the trickiest corner on the track. Want to brake at the 2. If you're uncomfortable here, maybe brake a bit earlier and a bit less. If that makes your exit out of the corner better, it's worth it. It's very easy to lose the rear on the entry, like you will see on my lap as well. Shift down slowly here. If you shift down to second too early here, the rear wants to step out, and the rear is very, very light here already. So shifting down a bit slower can help with that. Slowly off the brake, and you want to run wide here. And as you can see, the rear wants to get very, very light. Let the car run out to the left-hand side here. Don't keep it too tight. That will, first of all, make it so you have to brake more on corner entry, but it will also hurt your exit, and we have a long straight afterwards, so you want to be entering from the left side here for when it tightens up. So it's kind of a really... It is a double apex, but you keep turning, you never stop turning. The only thing you can do is when you're braking here, go off the brakes in the middle here a bit more, because you're turning a bit more here. And then if you have to slow down more afterwards, you can try to straight line this a bit to here and brake a bit more again. So turn less, brake a bit more, and then start turning more again and brake less. It's a bit like Suzuka Turn 1, but way, way tighter. And in Suzuka Turn 1, we also can straight line the braking in the middle a bit to go a bit more on the brakes for the second apex. So that's what you can do to the outside here, and then slowly make it to the inside. And we want to make sure that by the time you hit this apex here, we've already mostly turned the car and we're already on throttle and building the throttle so that we can be on throttle early after that. We want to use the curb on the left-hand side and the exit as well, and then we got a really long back straight. So let's just skip past that to the next braking zone, and we want to make sure we're at the right side as much as we can. For the braking, I use the 2 and the 1 as a brake marker. I brake just before the 1, but this one's tricky. Let's go for the cockpit cam. You can see this right side of the track is not straight. It opens up a bit on the right, and you want to use that, but it's very tricky to not clip the grass while using that. So use that as much as you're comfortable with. So we want to bring it to the right side here and use the 1 as a brake marker. And there's a bit of an edge here, and you want to be as close to the right-hand side there as you can. If you do that, you can turn quite late, and then again, just like in the previous corner, while we're turning here, go off the brakes a bit, and then try to straight line it as much as you can from this point to the apex. So in summary, you want to brake quite hard just before the 1. Bring it over to the inside. Let's go from cockpit cam, it's probably easier. Bring it over to the inside. And from this point here, you've already gone off the brakes a bit. You should be able to straight line the braking a bit more, and if we brake in a straight line, we can brake a bit harder again. So you can go a bit harder on the brake pressure again when we go in a straight line. And then of course we trail back again into the next right-hander. So you divide it up a bit into two pieces. If you make sure you get the straight line at the end here, you can brake a bit harder and you can take a lot more speed into this left-hand kink. If you don't get that straight line in, you have to get all of that braking done before this point already. And this whole piece of track, you're going a much lower speed than. So it's very important to try to get that straight line braking in after this apex here. Then we get the last bit of the roller coaster. From here we can go flat out. And the left-hand kink should be flat as long as you don't run too wide on the exit here. You want to be exiting not quite on the curb here, so that you've got a bit of room to start turning in. And I clip the grass a bit on the left-hand side here as well, to make sure I can go flat here. Got all the way to the outside curb here, and then we get the last corner. You think you've done the lap, you think you've got a nice lap time in, and then you get one of the trickiest corners still. And the way we want to take the last corner, let's go from the inside to have a better reference. You want to turn in really late, so you want to use this curb to the end as much as you can here. Lift a tiny bit here to put a bit of weight on the front, and then we want to clip the grass on the left-hand side here to try to open up the right-hander as much as we can. And when we want to clip the grass, we want to have the steering wheel straight. And the way we do that is turn in late. If you turn it too early here and have it straight, you're gonna go straight for the next apex. So you want to turn in really late, just after the curb on the right side ended. Turn in late and try to exit so that you can still turn right before you get to the apex here. If you can't turn right and you have to go straight or even turn a bit left at this point, you turn in too early for the left-hand kink. This point here, just like the previous braking zone, you want to straight line the braking. So straight line braking from here, clip the inside curb, and then we want to use the compression so we get from on top of the hill to where it goes flat and even a bit uphill. We want to use that point where the car gets compressed and pushed into the road as a point where you can go on throttle. And if you go from the outside, this point here, the car gets really pushed into the road, into the tarmac, and that's going to give us a lot of grip, and we want to use that grip to immediately go onto the power and get a good exit from here. The only thing you have to watch out for is a bit of understeer, and it goes pretty tight at the end here, so make sure you're not going to understeer off. Just use the curb here on the left hand side, but make sure you're not going to understeer off. Alright, so there you go. As you can see, this track's a full roller coaster. The corners come at you really quick. There's no room for error. And did you know that actually this is Max Verstappen's favorite track in iRacing? So if you want to know what the bus is about, make sure to have a look, try to learn the track, and have fun with it. Should be a really good fun week, and I wish you all good luck, and see you for next week for another track guide.